We've made it to map number 3 here, the first series of the day at the DreamHack Open in Winstrike, and it's been between Tricked and Winstrike. So now it's going to be on Train. I was getting confused about Tricked and Train there for a minute, but honestly, they've been looking up. Like it's been sort of like a steady incline for Tricked all the way through the best of 3. I think they've got a pretty good shot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was favoring Winstrike looking in map number 1. I still think there's a very good chance Winstrike could still edge this out, going back to Train, of course, which is not that we saw Trick perform very poorly on yesterday, but after the last map's performance we had from Trick, it's not looking like that'll be the case any longer. You know, they've really woken up. They're bringing a lot to the table, especially on T sides, based on what we saw from Nuke. So as long as they can, you know, innovate a little bit more from what we saw on Nuke yesterday, which to be fair, I think that was more on Aristocracy's players kind of denying them and getting really aggressive against them more so than their own failings like from strats. They still could have a really good chance of just taking this one outright and get the reverse sweep in here after dropping the first map to the guys from Winstrike.
Yeah, I mean, and there's even a world in which they would have won one of those overtimes and they would have been 2-0 by now. So I guess you never know. I would say I don't expect Trick to be playing the same style. What was great about Dust 2 as well is it wasn't just Bubsky and Acor. Like you saw Shush and you saw Borup play. You saw Hunden actually play pretty well as too. So it seemed like more of a whole team kind of effort. And if they can keep that alive going into Train, I think that's going to make a deciding difference. But we'll find out. Winstrike, yeah, they need to shake off that loss on the second map and just get back into action now.
Let's see if they're going to be able to do that, folks. As looks like they're just doing the first round, the knife round, real quick, and then we'll be able to jump into the fray here. Obviously, it's third map, so knife round should decide the sides between these two guys, and it's looking like who's going to come out on top of this one. I think it's going to end up with Winstrike taking it. So look at side choice to start. They take the knife round. We'll jump into the start of the map in just a second, guys. Tricked did very well on map number 2. Not a single player in the negative for their KD, and also every single player over a 1.0 HLTV rating coming off that map too. So a big step up in performance from map number 1, where it was reliant on kind of a few heroes showing up every few rounds. Yeah. Alternatively, Winstrike had a pretty massive downturn. We saw a lot of the players that were, you know, really there in map number 1 go much quieter. Guys like Kvik, along with even like Edward to a certain extent too, a little bit more of a falling off after some good plays from him back on Nuke. So we need to see those guys turn it back up for Train once again if they want to get the closeout on this series, keeping them in this tournament. This is an elimination matchup, just as a quick reminder too. It's our first elimination matchup of the tournament. Because the loser of this one is going to be the first team to head home early.
And winner is going to be playing Avant-Garde, so that will be difficult for sure. Later on, we've got Ancient versus winner of Crazy or Chaos, which is, you know, our next game coming up. So that'll be fun, really fun.
It's going to be right around the corner after this one, guys. But here we go. It's looking like we are ready to jump into the third and final map of this series. We've got a lot more action coming up today, but we've got to get through this one first. Winstrike versus Tricked. Both teams with one map under their belt, and it's Train is the deciding battleground. So let's get into it. Round number 1 is getting started right now.
Tricked ending up on the T side first. See how that plays out. Could be great if you win some of these early rounds. That gives you so much confidence if you start on the T side, but could also start with a bit of a... Oh, that's a very deep smoke. I wonder if that was meant to go all the way over and land on the other side, or if it is actually meant to block off Ivy. Borup and Bubsky ending up with a big open. It looks like that definitely is an Ivy smoke, so that's a fun way to throw it. I kind of like seeing that. Bomb going to be planted, and just shots coming through the smoke. No one there to stop it. It's 5 versus 3, and looking very good for Tricked early on. Finally, a bit of a reply, but look at the lineup here for Hunden. He's going to pick up that 1 kill, and they have to respect that. They can't even really deal with it. Hunden with a double, and that is pistol round going in favor of Tricked. What a nice execute.
Yeah, especially with the smoke that you mentioned there too that goes down. It actually does divide the defenses for Winstrike pretty aggressively and opens up quite a few windows of opportunity for Trick to play into there. A little bit bumpy after they make their way up to the site. Nearly loses it for a second, but they do pretty quickly put things back under their own control. So Trick up on the board first. We've got a pretty much immediate response coming in, though, for the Winstrike rosters. They're going to buy in aggressively into the second round. Got 2 scouts, a few pistol buy-ups. However, not sure if they're even going to get a chance to really use them here, as we're going to see Trick run right into the inner sight, going for a 1-for-1 exchange in the meanwhile.
Now that's, though, a pretty big pickup for Edward. Bomb is just going to... Oh, wow. Elian. Headshot on Shush, and suddenly it's looking a little bit tricky Bubsky will bring it back with an AK-47, getting a couple of kills, and that might have just saved them. They were in a 2-on-4 there for a couple of seconds. Edward sneaking down the ramp. Smoke's going to go away. Borup not ready for it. And then it's all on Bubsky. He's going to have to go for the quad kill clutch here to try and not give away the round. 6 shot coming up from him. And now he's back at the low ground. Edward without a defused kit. He's still going to run him down. There's a bit of time for him. Actually, a long distance he has to run. And yeah, he's going to have to give it up. Man, Bubsky saving them in that one.
As he's been doing quite a few times throughout today. Edward still going to be able to make it out of the explosion radius, so he saves the gun, but it's a small gesture compared to the round win that we see Tricked picking up. They'll stay consistent, albeit with a much less effective economy going into the next round. So take a look at this one more time for Bubsky. He's able to turn this around. An amazing trip kill from him towards the end on the inside of the train yard there to be able to put his team further ahead now. And we're actually going to see a pause from Tricked after that win right there. That'll put them use their first one. They'll have 4 remaining afterwards.
Yeah, a little bit early to be calling that kind of thing. Maybe just get all the troops settled down. And you have to imagine, I could understand it if Winstrike are going to try and buy behind this. They got the AK-47 already. They did so much damage in that last round. Got everybody killed. So maybe you just want to keep that up. Actually, they're not going to quite do. They're upgrading some pistols, but I would have even been okay with the other option.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Tricked and they're completely out of cash right now. So you really wouldn't have been able to fault Winstrike if they decided to go for a full investment, considering just how close they were to winning that one. And I think that at minimum, Tricked certainly expected that. As they're playing very slowly at the beginning of this round, you know, you can see Borup walking for a potential run-in towards Team A or just any type of push we might see, but they're not going to get it. Winstrike sitting back and playing pretty passive themselves, so it is going to be on Tricked to make the first move.
Edward here, AK-47 in hand. He's got the armor, got the grenade as well. One good opening shot is all they need, and it's going to be perfect. Bomb down, Alien. Wanted to follow up, and I don't blame him for it, but they were ready for it. Now Edward pushing through the smoke, and he needs to be aggressive. He's going to give up the AK-47, but he actually has to try something like that. Nice shot from Quick.
Finds that type from just on the inside of Ivy. Bondic also over by the train sandwich. Picks up Hunden. He's going to try to find more, but he is spotted out by Acor, trying to work his way to the top of the train. Kvik, though, finishes off Bubsky, and now this goes down to another 1v1. Very, very close. Tries to shoot from the ladders, which unfortunately is not going to work this time around. The Rat, though, still might have a chance, and he takes it quick with the clutch. Puts Winstrike on the board with a 3K.
Wow. I mean, even the angle there, I would have thought that the AK-47 would have had a big lead. That's a big round to give up there. Quick doing it all. Triple for him with the Deagle. None of the shots really sort of really high-grade shots or anything, but it doesn't matter. That's going to be them stealing away the round. 3 of them already gone here. 2 of them Tricked, 1 to Winstrike. And the money, again, for the Danish side is completely broken.
The nade that was thrown instead of Pop Dog, actually, if it was thrown with the appropriate arc, could have done some decent damage to Tricked on their push in the hallway, but they're not going to be able to grab it. Regardless, Tricked are working with a broken buy this round, after losing so close in the previous one. Winstrike, though, due to the light bot nature that they took back in round number 3, that I'm not really even sure the Tricked were ever really aware of, means that they now get a pretty fully scoped out buy going into the 4th round after the win that they picked up. A lot of AUGs already being upgraded into this. Only Norbert's going to take a lot of damage for the molly onto the ground right there, but the favor is returned. Edward picks up 2 kills, one of them coming from a molly. Bondic finding one, as well as Elian also able to snipe out Bubsky. Leaves just Hunden in the fray. That's a quick cleanup coming in for the CT side, and we'll see Winstrike take this one without a single player dropped.
Good on them. I think, you know, a bit of a worrying moment. Looked like he was about to burn the Molotov, but if you're playing far back on that B-bomb side, mentally you always need to remind yourself, I'm actually not trying to sort of really stop them from getting the bomb down. It's fine if they get the bomb down. If none of us go down, we play it real safe. Much rather have that if you're Winstrike here. And even with the bomb plant, because that was a lot of investment for Tricked, they're not going to be able to do anything in this round.
And they were going for the round win there previously, so the extra money is not going to enable the early buy for them. Edward again going for this nade. This time it's going to be a little bit more well-placed, and it does some good damage to Bubsky. I think some other ones were chucked towards Team A and 2 that did good damage to A-Core and Shush. Not anything that's going to completely stunt them for the rest of the round, but it's one or two less bullets that Winstrike need to put into them later on. Like right here, where we've got both Bondic and Edward finding some nice impact. Bondic actually nearly getting caught by the player on Olaf approach. But they correct it. And again, it's looking nice and clean here for Winstrike as they're going to try to take the lead in just a second at 3-2.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I was going to say they kind of need to do some damage. There were no kills happening in their favor last time. This time there's only the one. That's a lot of money being built up now on the defensive side, so they're going to be really excited about Winstrike. Really on track to have a bad start to this third map, but now it's not really true anymore.
Yeah, it is pretty much an immediate rebound, which is actually something we hadn't seen in the previous two maps. It was the case of Winstrike getting off to kind of the booming start on Nuke, and the opposite for Tricked on Dust 2. So this is a little bit more of an even exchange between these teams, which is going to make for a nice storyline. Looking back on this series overall, both teams really getting their chance to get warmed up over the first two maps, and now we've got a kind of nice even brawl so far anyway on Nuke. Tricked, though, are absolutely dominating the beginning of this one. Borup and Shush before Bondic, of course, gets his response going unchallenged in the 3-kill streak that Trick start this round off with. Bubsky, though, brings it down to only one player remaining for Winstrike. It's Norbert versus the World.
Yeah, they know where he is too, so try and make it expensive. Save the gun if you can. They have a lot of money, so they're going to be fine. And Trick might not want to be throwing away the rest of these rifles hunting him. They just don't have the cash for it. So I'm not sure what happened with Borup opening up with a double, but obviously down at Ivy, I think Elian was just completely scoped in the wrong direction. Like he had no idea. So, ooh, Norbert had the chance. Borup, though, third kill for him.
So that'll keep us even for now. 3-3, both teams showing up with successes and failures so far throughout the course of this map, but no one taking a clear lead as the lead continues to seesaw back and forth between the teams. And wow, it's actually just, complete run out onto the site that he gets away with there. Good stuff from Borup. Put his team on the site, not really needing any support at all.
Double open play now for Winstrike. Elian and Quick with the other one. Both of them on the A side of the map. Oh, and that's a lot of damage to Tricked really early on. I guess one grenade, one tag there with the AWP. It's going to cause some problems later on, or it could at least.
Or the one that's hit by the tag, and A-Core, I believe, hit by a nade somewhere else. Brings him down to the HPs they're at now. For the rest of Tricked, well, the large majority of them are falling back into the upper halls to try and work their way over towards the back B site. It's not necessarily looking like we're going to see a lot of drop play. Normally you'd have a few players in T-Con, so instead it's going to be inner. Norbert makes an incredibly aggressive push to try and take on Shush and at least one other player. It doesn't pan out. Elian misses his first attempt to stop this push from happening as well. Shush and Bubsky going to be able to confirm kills on Edward along with Elian, leaving just the A players alive. And they do not have position to rotate in, let alone retake against the full 5-man roster that is still up and standing for Tricked. So again, this round is looking like an unwinnable retake, and Tricked will have to take this one without too much of a fight besides the take itself. Quick and Bondic just looking to save. A good shot from Quick to save his own life there on the outside of Ivy, but only just a start. At the very minimum, they should be able to keep their guns in check. Wanted to fight Hunden just to get the full confirmation on that. But the round still goes to Tricked, and the lead's going to go along with it.
So they flashed Norbert into that ramp over at B, and I don't even mind that. It is a little bit aggressive, but I think if you catch the timing there, that's still going to be pretty cool. That was like a pop flash all the way from C connector, and I'm fine with it. But I don't understand. Like he stays around. Like not only does he doesn't just peek it, he like walks all the way in, so he can't even really get away quickly. And he also sort of just stays and fights. So I'm like, fine, throw the flashbang, but make it like a really quick, peek and then run. If there's no one there, just go away. No reason to stick around. So I felt like, good idea. not the best execution. That actually cost them almost everything.
It was very easy for them to walk right at that point. Alien as well, unable to really work too good of an angle from the back site. After he falls, the site is pretty much gone. Edward also getting knocked out at some point in the process there, although we missed that one on camera. So we didn't see how he ended up falling, but more than likely towards upper. We saw him go down, and that's the entire defensive matrix of the inner site just gone right before there's even an attempt to rotate the A players over. So they are not left with much of a choice. They fall back. They will save their rifles, so not the end of the world when it comes to their economy with those few saves still in the pocket. Now needing to build further on that. With their opponents tricked, just taking the lead from them. We'll see how the half continues to evolve. So Winstrike still keeping this close. We're still seeing them constantly show up a few rounds later with an adjustment that allows them to keep the overall round share in relatively close proximity to that of their opponent. Tricked haven't necessarily run away with anything just yet.
You know, but they're also playing on the T side, so I think that's, you know, still looking pretty good for them right now. They seem happy as well, kind of laughing, kind of having a good time. 4-3, yeah, I don't know. I would start to worry a tiny bit if I was Winstrike. They're not building that huge economy on the CT side. I think if Trick get up to even 6 rounds, that's gonna be pretty good. A-Core still only has the 1 kill too, so with the AWP, I'm expecting probably A-Core is gonna be way more powerful on the CT side. Borup leading the charge now all the way up to Olaf position. Bondik walks right into it. Borup been getting some great openings.
It's turning into like tactical openers too for Trick that are for the most part just going unresponded to, which is where this starts to get a little bit dangerous. Edward, however, does find at least 1 pickup. But this is pretty disconnected from all the action that's happening. It's way up in the upper halls. Shush. Try to get the better of Kvik. Doesn't happen this time though. Winstrike. Now with that combined with Edward's pickup, starting to battle back. Borup not only gets the kill against Kvik, but saves his teammate's life. Edward, though, is going to take it away from A-Core just a second later anyway. Into a 2v2. They do have the pincer positions for the CTs to play off of, but they also don't have intel on the post-plant positions for the Trick members.
He looked so flash Borup in that kill that he got there. I don't even know how that happened. Norbert, though, getting a good kill on Hunden, and now Borup is snuck in behind. That's exactly where Norbert just came from, so it might be hard for them to check it. They've tapped the bomb once. He's going to go and see that. Gets the headshot. Borup really playing a great game right now. And Edward, he's got no grenades to get him away, so going to tap the bomb, but he's pretty much run out of time. He does not have a defuse kit, and he's going to get the kill, but once again does not have time running away from it. That's another triple for Borup. He's playing, I think, so far, the best map that we've seen him play here in Jönköping, so that's good news for them.
So it's kind of something cool about Tricked is we are seeing like so many different players show up from time to time. The only issue with this is it seems relatively inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like players kind of turning off and on from map to map. So that, especially later on in the tournament, that's going to start to cause problems for them. But for right now, it's very cool to see each of these players who, in the most case, they're all relatively young, getting their moment to shine here on a stage like this, especially against players like Edward and Bondik having the history that they have on the other side of the table. Speaking of which, Edward starts this off well in this round again for Winstrike, despite the relatively low bot nature of it. He's got the M4, he's got the op that he tossed off to a teammate. There's also going to be an aggressive push from 2 more of them. Bondik working his way in, knocks out A-Core, gets an AK for his troubles.
Yeah, it looked like you could even maybe see the shadow on the ground there, but I guess A-Core was probably focused on something else. Might have been listening to some team comms or something. Oh, and hiding up there. 5-7 in hand. That bomb plant was absolutely critical to them having a chance in the 3 versus 4 here. But now it's a 2-on-4 instead without the bomb plant, and it's just going to get harder. Quick with a nice shot on Bubsky. This is a huge steal for Winstrike.
Shush. Obviously not really in a position to do anything, so Norbert does the casual tap to the back of the head. We'll finish off the round for Winstrike as the aggression from them suddenly stunts Tricked, as they can't figure out how to counter it. Try to rush the bomb plant before they had full control over the site. And as a result of that, lose control in a very one-sided round for Winstrike, which is a big change up from what we've been having in the past few rounds. Also, pretty much immediately sends Tricked onto an eco here, as they're not going to choose to force it, not going to choose to buy into it and look for a response. Winstrike won that round pretty handily, so there's no reason to press the economy right now.
Good call for Norbert with the Molotov. They're down on the low ground anyway. They just completely ignore it, running right through, but still should be no problem here. Oh,
aim punch.
Edward, yeah, I was going to say no head armor, so might have cost them a bit there, but they're going to be fine anyway. Elian with the quad kill. And no bomb plant.
They get the denial off with a little bit more damage this time against the roster, but like you said, without a bomb plant, round is still not going to be too successful. But to be fair, pretty much zero investment coming in for them on that one, so they're probably quite all right to escape with just the 2 frags they got. Buying into it now for the next one, though. This is where the full investment starts to show up. The utility will be a bit light on a few players because of the lack of that bomb plant from before. Nice G-nade knocks out a little under half the HP from Edward at the beginning of the round, but we're not going to see anyone from Trick force the issue. Not going to see anyone poking their head out, taking it nice and slow, I think, to try and punish or at least make the aggression from Winstrike a little bit less useful than it was in the previous round. And Trick, though, are going to go for a very fast execute to the inside of the B site. So far, it's gotten them good control.
Yeah, that shot though from Norbert almost took down Borup. Straight headshot now. Norbert walking out. Can he stop the bomb? Yes, he will. That is such a great infiltration play coming out. Now he's going to be going around the back, picking up one more shot there. And man, that's the second time they try and put that bomb down without control of the bomb site. And it's really costing them a lot. Elian probably wondering what's going on inside of the smoke. And he's going to find out, but not the way he intended. Bondik should have an easy kill on Borup here. There's the bomb finally planted 20 seconds later.
Obviously well after the take has transpired, but now into the 2v2, Tricked with Hunden being very low, going to look to hold on. Acor's going to have to do most of the heavy fighting for the front lines here. He's not able to locate either of the Winstrike players yet. That's going to change now. Might have seen both of them at the very minimum. Catches Kvik up on the top of the train. Zamali to hold off his left flank. Do some damage to Bondik. Hunden helps him out from the back lanes, but Kvik still picks up the first kill. He's just going to jump onto the full hold, and we'll see Hunden push it just in time to knock out Kvik. And that is going to be Tricked, taking the lead once again. Although just barely, that defuse had to have had less than a second left on it.
That was getting very close. A nice call from Hunden to not really waste any time there. I'm going to go straight for it. Tricked with a timeout in spite of winning it. They really, really want to keep everybody focused.
Second time they've done that this map. They did it at least once on Dust 2 as well.
Yeah.
So Tricked, the leadership anyway from Tricked, wanting to really iron out some of the issues that are happening on 1 rounds and prioritizing on, I think, trying to get a bit more of a consistent scoreline going here. Because even though Tricked are winning, and in a lot of cases are winning these rounds quite handily, you're still seeing Winstrike come back with their own very one-sided rounds into their favor. So I think the leadership of Tricked right now is focused on trying to stop that from happening and more so establish a little bit more of a dominant lead for Tricked here. Either way, keeping pace with the CT side on Train is still going to be a good look for them as Acor takes the second attempt, but he finds the lineup on Alien from the inside of Team 8.
Oh, man. That has just ruined his whole life, hasn't it?
That's after he already makes a first attempt at that shot, too. Alien has no idea. Walks right into the picture-perfect angle. And this on top of nearly knocking out Bondik is another great start to a round for Tricked.
I would love to see a replay and see if Alien, notices the first shot and is like, he's not going to do it again. And then sits right in that angle, like if he actually goes and checks. Well, here we go. Under a minute now, pushing out into the A-yard. There is a guy looking around Ivy as well. Hunden going to pick up that one. Quick will take down Bubsky. Shush with one more, but has the bomb down. And oh yeah, that late look coming in from Borup over at Ivy. And you could tell Quick was not ready for it. It's all on Norbert now.
Norbert, at the very minimum, has been able to stop the bomb plan up until this point.
And we actually saw him earlier try and shoot under the train. A little bit more difficult with the AWP, but it could be done. So let's see if they get closer up plant, if he's going to try and showboat a little bit on that one. 20 seconds Tricked. You really, really don't want to leave it to the last 10, because then that shot under the train could be absolutely everything. He's thinking about it. Molotov, choosing the wrong angle. Almost getting it, but the bomb is going to be going down. That would have been it. I don't know if he's got it on, but if you got that thing on where you could see like sort of the... Oh, well, Acor's going to take him down. But sometimes you could see like... I'm not sure if it's actually even available in competitive, but you can sometimes see like a name tag, you know, sort of like that red thing pop up.
Oh, when you're like aiming at the right spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's on a competitive. I've seen that win fights at least once or twice. But there's...
Okay. Well, that happens under the train. So
Yeah.
that is disgusting, isn't it?
He finds the other pick a moment later, too. But some good stuff from Acor. We're talking about wanting to see him evolve further into this series. We actually didn't get to see as much play from him on Dust 2 as I think some people would have liked to see, seeing as the Opera is given a bit more freedom on that map. But even on the T side of Train, he's still finding something to play with here, having a bit of fun in the process. Trickter actually just going to walk right on onto B this time. Winstrike, with a pretty much full save, are not going to be much of a match for it as they try to 5-stack the outer site.
They're so unafraid, Trick, to do these quick calls towards the B-bomb site, which could be stacked. But so far they haven't really run into anything that will really scare them. Whoa. Okay. We've got liftoff, I guess.
See you later, Bubsky. But Norbert is going to fall after that. And we'll see Tricks should be able to shut this down. Although this is a bit messier than I think they would have liked. Either way, they're just going to sit in the back box halls now. There's no reason to play it out any further and risk losing any additional players here, as the bomb is going to be blowing up regardless. So Winstrike just picking up a few extra things before they leave the site, and Trick will still, of course, take the round.
Yeah, so much more expensive than it needed to be for Trick, but it doesn't matter. They're still up at 8 rounds on T-side Train. They're really doing a good job. How many rounds did they get? Was that like what they got overall last time? I can't even remember.
On the...
When they were playing Train...
They got 5 against Aristocracy, I think.
Yeah, so 5 even.
And I think that was with the T-side start as well.
Yeah, you're right, 16-5 overall. So this is already looking a lot better.
Tricked, try to go for another quick take, although this time it's contested. Windstriker here, ready to take the fight. They don't necessarily come out on the winning end of it. That'll change, though, as Trick continue to push their luck by pushing E-Box. Ilian and Edward knock out both Borup and Acor. Bubsky looking to change the situation, though. Finds Norbert on the inner site, and that has completely opened the gates for Trick to take control.
Yeah, look at how far he's pushed in Bubsky. He has a smoke. He get by a lot of time. They're not ready for it. He's going to put that one up. Goes for a second fight, but could have probably just bought even more time. Now, the Molotov's going to do a little bit here to sort of force them. There's a smoke on the other side. I don't know what they're going to do right now. Like, they would have to wait forever for this to go away. You see Bondik annoyed. He's got the kit. Actually, Ilian has one too. Hunden now waiting for it, but they're just blocking them in. They can't really fight for it any longer. They're going to sort of pretend to do that, but Hunden's going to pick up one, and now, again, no time for it. That's got to be so frustrating. They had a huge chance here, Winstrike, but they get slowed down. Like half the team gets stuck in CT spawn.
Just off of one simple smoke and a molly to make sure no one else pushes the upper hallway either. A good heads-up play, though, again from Tricked. Bubsky pretty much single-handedly saving the day after the A push had failed. And making sure that Trick stay ahead. Bubsky, again, another play that we're constantly talking about. A little bit less so in this map's context. He's not necessarily leading the charge for his team or anything like that. It's kind of been on Borup more on this map, but still is constantly making those plays that are bringing his team back from the break.
Really the first real aggressive play that we've seen over on this side of the map. Ilian, a bit of a stand-up. Was that behind the... Was that a decoy?
That blew up in front of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a decoy.
If that's time to mask that peak, then that is like the ultimate 3,000, 4,000, like, I'm just going to keep going. 5,000 IQ play. That's so next level if that's true. Edward getting the bomb, though, but I'm going to have to ask about that one. I'm going to find out for you guys. I'm gonna steal Acor away later on and ask, did you really do that?
Or did it just work out that way?
I would straight braid my keyboard all the way across my knee if like I would be so angry if someone did that to me.
Well, either way, it's punished, like you said, the really only aggressive play we've seen Winstrike try to make on this side of the map. Tricked, however, they've got a bit of a battle to get back control over the bomb, and they win it. Trick are going to move in. They'll take a 1-for-1 exchange, but they get the bomb out of it, and that's really the only goal they needed to take away. Trick are going to make a fast run to the inner bomb site. Norbert's going to attempt to chase this down, although taking a bit of a different route, of course, to avoid immediately getting cut off. Trick will make it to the site. Bomb goes down. Norbert not able to make it in time to stop that, and now has to play retake from the back hallway.
They know exactly where he's coming from as well. Flashbang to make it up, but they're right on top of him, and that's going to be Borg to pick it up. 10-5. That same first half scoreline that we've been playing with all along at the end of it here. So really good job for Trick. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with the second half.
Gonna right me ever since you struck me down. Thought it was just one hit, now I'm in, I can't quit. My hands are tied, I can't break free. Said it was the last time, but I'm back here on the front line with you shooting holes in me. No matter what I do, you got my body in a cold sweat. You got my body in a cold sweat. Can't get enough of you. I can't eat, I can't sleep. Devils in the front seat, driving me to hell and back. I wish I didn't want you, but no one does what you do, and nothing's gonna bring me back. Well, I could lie to you, and I could say we're through, but you know that that ain't true. 'Cause you got my body in a cold sweat. 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 Can't get enough of you.
Come back, ladies and gentlemen, here. Second half going to be coming out now. Final map, and it's 10-5 in favor of Trick. And the vote was heavily favoring Winstrike. Everyone thought they were going to be able to do it, but right now, say Trick they're just at the finish line. They can almost do this.
Yeah, and it's great considering how weak Trick looked yesterday. It's been a great rebound, especially even considering how Nuke started off. It was looking like Winstrike was even going to be able to take control of that one. They had like a 9-3 lead or something like that at 1.2. So a really amazing rebound for Trick. And the win on this map, especially if it's a convincing one, will really just be the cherry on top of this series for them, I think. Let's see how the pistol round goes, though. Trick is now on the CT side. Warp will get a little bit of an aggressive start that probably didn't want the outcome that he had there. Kvik starts us off with the first actual kill. Bubsky falls after that with Bondic needing to come in to assist Kvik a little bit. The drop in ladder has not happened just yet. Shush able to shut out one of the players working their way in from Ivy. That's the trade onto Kvik. And Hunden with a clean headshot on Elian, too. Brings it back down into a 3v3. Oh, Shush quickly falls to Edward back in a sandwich.
Oh, thinking about it there. Well, they know where Norbert is. That grenade, though, that's going to do a little bit to Bondic, softening him up. Bomb plant. It's just been delayed forever. They're not quite sure, because if Bondic goes for the plant and he's going to get run down by someone playing close, that's a real problem. Norbert now wants to get in and help out. Oh, they're going to go B instead. Smart play, smart call.
They've got the control. There's no reason to force the issue on A. However, it looks like Trick are already going to start to catch on to this with Hunden going for the rotate over towards old bomb tunnel. They're working his way into CT. It's going to take him a second to get the realization of this. I think Hunden actually has to double back over towards Z really quickly.
Yeah.
So there's the spot.
Oh,
bit of an awkward spot against Edward, actually. Didn't hear the footsteps of Hunden for some reason. So this goes to a 2v2.
Yeah, I think everybody was confused, but it doesn't really change the fact that they're so far away. They don't have a kit currently picked up, so I don't know how they're going to be doing this. 100 running in. He's going to get the kill. Now with the grenade out, he's going to turn around. Oh, Bondic! I think that was the... Oh, how does that happen? He's confused. Look at the face of him as well. He had no idea. I'm not even sure that player was in his field of view.
He just guesses on the shot and manages to pick up the second kill. So amazing stuff from Bondic there, especially the final kill we ended up seeing. Hunted, of course, getting away with that one. But
if I see this in an Overwatch game, I'm convicting. I'm saying that's, yeah, get out.
It's really as if like movement penalty just got deleted from the game for a second right there. We're gonna see Bubsky though try to move up and get close range with the shotgun. Does quite a bit of damage to Norbert, but still ultimately is not gonna be able to pick it up, and he just barely survives it as he survives with 9 HP.
First kill happening with the Deagle in this round, but good return. Acor, who was pretty ineffective in the first half. See if he could do more. I definitely think with the AWP and even with the Deagle here, doing some work. Second kill for him.
Pocket Sniper picks up at least 1 kill. Looking for a few more on it though, but it's not gonna happen. Kvik quickly finds the trade against Acor, bringing us into a much more even situation at 3 versus 3. Winstrike slowly pinching that A site once again, but falling victim to quite a few members of Tricked. Borup still with the scout, I think, towards Heaven. It's going to be causing problems. His move now, actually, further into Z. Kvik making this aggressive push. Great lineup to find the double. So it's all on the scout of Borup now, near the plant. And he stopped the planter from getting away, though. Unfortunately not. Both players make their way into the train sandwich.
It's a nice attempt. He didn't really want to scope, I think, just to not give it away. And he's going to get shot down quick with a quad kill. I am not sure if Quick knew there were 2 people there. I think he maybe only knew one of them, but they lined up for him, so it was all the same. But that could have got really bad if he just got the one and turned around for it. Still close round, but well done on Winstrike.
And so Winstrike pick up these first 2. Slowly start to battle back into it. That comeback potential is alive once again, especially with Tricked having the full eco here. Should be an easy 8th for Winstrike unless something crazy happens. Tricked do have the right stack though. All 5 players on the outer site, and at the moment Winstrike are executing on it. But the thing is, they don't have the bomb with them, so if things go badly, they can still pull back. But well, that's not going to happen. Winstrike take control very quickly of this round and get that 8th on the board.
It's going to be working out well. 10-8 though. I'm gonna need to see a lot more right now out of Winstrike still. Edward and Bondic, the 2 top fraggers at the moment for that team. My real concern is Acor with this AWP. I wonder where they're going to put him exactly. So it looks like he's going to continue to play yard. That's it. The follow-up grenade. That's the perfect combination.
That's after the leg hits from Acor himself. And now Tricked have a little bit more freedom to try and play aggressively here. They're going to start to push forward. Norbert tries to pick up his own kill from the inside of drop, but is not going to find it. Borup gets one there. Quick adjustment from Hunden back over towards Ivy, and he's been able to get 1 kill along with good damage onto his second player. Both Elian and Bondic are the last 2 alive now from Winstrike, and both are trying to work their way in from Ivy. So don't really have a whole lot of real estate to work with here either, and there you go. Another quick shutdown. This time, though, the tables have turned. It's Tricked getting the unresponded round as they keep all 5 players alive at the end.
Really bad omen for Winstrike. Start to build up the economy pretty quickly. Just having someone who's good with the AWP on CT side for this map, so hard to deal with.
Acor is very much going to be that player as long as he can play uninterrupted. Even so, even if he has to move around a little bit and play more mobily, that's not going to be an issue for him either. Alien, though, gets things started for Winstrike this time around. Opens Ivy wide open for the taking. It's been smoked off, so there isn't really any room for Tricked to try and stop this control from being taken. Bondic also finds some success over by T-Main, I believe, catching Borup, and Bubsky is going to fall second after that. So Winstrike here for a very quick response. You can see A-Core by Z trying to move in, and he nearly finds Alien. A little bit of an awkward exchange between those two. That Kvik will finally capitalize on. Just leaves Shush now, who's also going to get caught, although he turns it around against Kvik, but he still has 4 more players to take out, and the bomb's just gone down. Not really much hope for him to clutch this.
No, he's going to get hunted down. Some pretty strange rounds that we're seeing here. Just sort of swinging wildly back and forth. Could have been flawless here. I mean, they only lost 1, so... I don't know. Really interesting stuff.
Not really much of a pattern to it either is the thing. It's kind of hard to predict where these rounds are going to come from, because one round like we just had before, it's Winstrike keeping all 5 players alive and just shutting down Tricked entirely, but then the reverse happens literally the next round. So it's a little bit hard to call how the rest of this game is going to go as a result of that. But expect it potentially to be a little bit close at a very minimum. Alien is going to take quite a bit of damage at the start of this round. A nade lowers him, and Borup, the peak from Olaf, is going to be able to take him out. Hunden also finding another one back by Ivy. Kvik goes down, and this is a great example of what I was talking about before. This time it's very one-sided, just in the favor of Tricked.
I think Hunden got that shot through the smoke, and the other one was pushed out of T-Main. Yeah. So there weren't even like... It was sort of, I mean, one of them was unlucky. I guess the other one's like a little bit of a gamble running out. We've seen that before, but defense here at B should be able to hold things pretty well. Timing a little bit here with the flashbang. They're just waiting on the other side, but still already getting shut down. Just absolutely handling that. And Trick, they're going to be happy about this. Again, losing nobody. So their money's building, and they're getting very close to winning this series now.
Going pretty much unchallenged on multiple angles in that round. It's going to leave the guys from Winstrike guessing. How do we change things up? How do we make this aggression work better for our favor? They're showing up for a few rounds with the capability to do that, but the back and forth nature of this is not going to be enough in the long run. Trick still has the lead. Now that we're kind of just trading rounds all over the place, eventually it's still going to work out for them to push right up to 16 and get the close down on this map. Not to mention money issues as well is going to really start to show up for Winstrike if they drop this one again. So
Hunden again, sort of slightly playing in the lottery. The grenade, yeah, might. Oh wow!
Ooh, wow. So Alien didn't even have armor too, so that did a lot more damage to him.
Yeah, that's kind of. He's been having a great time down in that smoke.
So a near perfect nade on a Kvik. And Alien just eating a lot more damage due to the lack of armor. Hunden could potentially have himself a bit of a multi-frag spree here in a second. Although Alien, despite the low HP and the lack of armor, is able to make the best of a bad situation. Hunden and Shush work together for 2, but they've also lost 2. And Bondik finds another one. Borup, though, with the double trade, finding Bondik and Alien, leaves just Norbert in the fight. Trick will still come out on top of it at the end as they pick up yet another round.
Could have been really hard to handle. It's kind of tricky when that many people coming out of Ivy for them, because you have a tendency, especially if you're the yard player in that, you get like 1 or even 2 kills. Wow, Borup couldn't even see those 2 players, could he? Like, you'd see one of them, but yeah, you get 1 or 2 kills, you turn around instinctively to look for the rest, and if they're all still behind you, that's a problem. So 13-9. Nothing at all except for the Deagle here on the Winstrike team. They're in a lot of trouble.
So Winstrike not even really with any control to start off with here either. All 5 players just stacking in back calls. Tricked have gotten more and more aggressive too, so they're going to see this coming. Shush immediately throwing down the molly when he sees the 5-man play. Holding seal one of them, so they're going to try to do a bit of a waterfall out from upper. Borup should see this out of the corner of his eye, but apparently not. They do drop in and they're able to split up. Shush doing a good job of sniping these guys out though. Get to 2 for 1 while being surrounded by them. Can't fault him for still being overwhelmed by that. Now the flag moves in, and this is where Trick should get the shutdown. And hopefully not lose any more players. Kvik, with the scavenged log, though, is able to get at least 1. Alien, however, is going to get shot in the back of the head. And that's the end of it. Tricked up to 14. 2 more, and the series is theirs, and they will knock Winstrike out of the event as the first team to go home.
Yeah, good job on Trick to not lose more than the 2, because, again, their economy is not exactly amazing, so one of the ways in which they could still give this up is if they lose too many rifles on the way to the finish line, then suddenly they get eco'd and and it ends up badly. See, 500 there on Hunden, 1300 on Schuss. I mean, the rest are looking all right-ish, but still. No reason to leave anything open here. Tricked. Be a big win for them right here if they could make this work.
Like you said, they're going to get a chance to move on, I believe. Play against the Vanguard later on today. What will more than likely be our final, or at least our third series of the day here. Akora, a good start again here for Tricked as he finds Elian. Drops that op onto the ground for the T side. Another very powerful member of the Winstrike roster. One of the only ones that actually found consistent impact on Dust 2. He's gone for the beginning of this round. That's going to cause a bit of timidness for the rest of Winstrike. No one else wanting to peek out and re-challenge that. All sitting back and now playing down the timer. No real sign of an execute brewing here for Winstrike anytime soon either.
And they have the grenades for it. 3 smokes, 3 Molotovs. Might be difficult for them to do much of a fake, so I'm expecting that probably they're just going to try and go for some sort of A execute. Good timing on that one for Bubsky, about 40 seconds. And now they're going to be setting it up. Akor still has a Molotov, so he could try and buy a bit of space with that one now. 35 seconds, and they're going to try and make their way out. Hunden doing a little bit of damage there. He's still worried about Pop Dog, and he should be. Borup there to pick it up, and Hunden with a nice shot. And that just might be it, ladies and gentlemen. Quick now in a 1 versus 4. Obviously not going to be able to win the round, but even then, their money is going to be in such a strange place. Winstrike really just not quite enough to follow through here in map number 3.
Quick, more than anything, 10 seconds left here. Focusing on keeping that op in play. That's a nice pixel headshot against Hunden. Finally ending his reign for this round. Timer will expire, though. He's going to be extra careful now, but it looks like he's been able to dodge the bullet on everyone else from Tricked. Keeps that in check. But still, 6 rounds straight. We now need to see Winstrike get. And we haven't seen that kind of a round run from them since back on Nuke 2 maps ago. So this is looking very bleak for them indeed.
Yeah, and it's almost like the story's changed a little bit in everyone's mind, because now you think about that triple overtime and you think, well, okay, so we've got triple overtime where Trick could have won it. Now we've got Dust 2, which they kind of crushed it on now on Train as well. So the overall series feels a lot more like, yeah, Trick actually looking like a pretty strong performance from them here. Which is what we want to see anyway.
And at the very end of the road, probably not the best timing for it, unfortunately, but better now than never. Winstrike do choose to take their pause. Going to take a moment, see if they can sort things out. Although the rebuy from them is going to be very, very desperate here in terms of what they get for it. It's enough. That's enough to win a round, that's for sure. But it does not give them full buy capability at all, unfortunately.
It really doesn't. They need to win 6 in a row. It's not look good so far. Hunden hoping for somebody to make a jump. Quick, just don't do it. Yeah, so tempting, but it's not worth it.
Flash against Hunden's good. Obviously no vision beyond that smoke right now, so Kvik doesn't have a whole lot to play off of. He's going to continue to try and waste utility. He's doing an okay job of that aspect at least. That's the one thing where Tricked is a little bit more limited on. Winstrike at the same time, though, also doesn't have a whole lot for their execute. They've got a single molly and 2 smokes. The CTs still have 1 more smoke they can utilize as well. And basically no map control being taken at all here by Winstrike at the beginning of the round.
Could be looking like a split at the moment. Retaking T-main now, and the bomb going down towards Ivy as well, so 40 seconds on the clock. Really just 1 smoke left here on Bubsky, and that's going to be over at Pop Dog, so he could buy a little bit more time, and no one's coming from that direction either. We'll see how this plays out. Good Molotov in the corner to create a bit of space. Hunden tagging them up a tiny bit. 25 seconds, and oh, Winstrike, they need to move quick if they want to get this done. They're really running out of time now. Bubsky picking up 1. They don't have control of Pop Dog at the moment, and finally they're going to get him killed. Alien with a really nice shot, and they may have turned it. That happened really quickly.
Shush all alone. And more than likely not even going to attempt the retake. He's taking his time with getting out of the position on B. So this is a win for Winstrike, I'm pretty sure. They're going to survive. They're going to get onto the road at a minimum, but there's still 5 more rounds they need to get after this. That's the big issue. But a good play from them. Most importantly, good utility. They did a really good job of restricting the angles that Trick could have played out of when the execute actually happened, especially towards Ivy, with being able to deny Hunden's capability to play from that back position there, as he's been using for pretty much the entire half so far. And with that, I think that gave them a lot more freedom to work with for the actual execute.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess Bubsky got that one kill. He probably would have a lot of the time been worried about another player coming down the ladder, and there was no one there. So I'm expecting that probably he would have been sort of looking back and forth a lot. Regardless, there's going to be one more round here for Winstrike. 10 overall, 15 to Trick though. Money would be the thing that would really give him a chance here, and they spent all of it now on Trick. So if they win this round, Winstrike, that's going to give him from like 10 to 12 pretty quickly, probably.
See Alien trying to go for that lineup again. Opponent got it before. This time, not so much for him. Bubsky as well, taking his chances on the ladder right there with the Mag 7.
Come on.
Already seen him try to do it before, or someone's tried to do this already with the shotgun. It's Alien, though, that strikes first this time, however, for Winstrike. Able to find the A-core, take out the opping presence from Tricked. Norbert in a moment here, probably going to drop down against Bubsky. We stop it here with the shotgun.
Well, that opening kill on A-core going to help them out a lot. I almost would like Trick, considering the money, to just stack a bomb site. It's a little bit early, but at the same time, you can't buy next round. Missed opportunity there with the Max 7. Now you definitely need to stack a bomb site. Might as well save what you have, and if they show up, maybe you could win it. Looks like it's going to be B, and no. Yeah, just a little bit of a distraction here.
Got like one player lurking in the outer site. Kvik is going to try to cause issues, and he's doing a pretty good job of that. Because you can see Trick still looking around like, where's the execute? They see this one player. Borup just tracing him for as long as he can before he leaves the site. We'll take him out, but it's only a small gesture that unfortunately won't be able to have much of an impact against Winstrike's long-standing plans. Tricked. Borup specifically at a minimum gets the op. That was down at the beginning of the round, so he's going to be able to try to take this out towards Ivy. He's not necessarily in a great position, though. You can already see Edward down the other end of this approach. He's going to be waiting for him if he backs up too much. In fact, he might be in his vision pane in just a second. He's going to get pushed from the other side of this, too. Yeah, I'd say he's a dead man. And there you go. No saves this time for Tricked.
That's great. Getting all the rifles away, nicely done. Quick, even, cleaning up before the round is even over, but just getting these 2 kills, it's kind of huge. No money left for the Danish side. 11 to 15. Not done yet. We started with 3 overtimes. Could finish with a couple too.
It's starting to look more and more likely here now that Tricked have been broken. Although they're going to try something a little bit tricky here. Working their way up through those back halls. This is more than likely going to get caught by Norbert, although how successfully is still yet to be seen. Molly onto the ground. Might actually kill Edward if he's not careful here, but no! They wrap around. That'll probably be an immediate call to execute outside, but the bomb is still down at the bottom of these steps. They can stop this now. Alien picks up the first, is traded by Borup.
That's the bomb. What in God's name just happened?
There's 3 guns on the ground that Trick can utilize now too, although they've only found 2 of them so far. Bondic gonna be the first to work his way over, but now you've got Borup in position and Bubsky.
You can't walk up these stairs. If there's someone up in that window, you are definitely gonna get shot in the legs. This is absolute madness.
I think Trick just won it on a full save.
Out of all the ways you could have lost it, it was against 5 USPs. They did obviously boost up behind it, so they sort of came in from both angles, but that Molotov, you're right, it did a lot of damage to Edward. Oh god, this is really not good. Smoke at least going to be up there, but Borup and Bubsky combining for that kill, and now it's a 1 versus 4 with 35 seconds left, and Tricked. Wow, knocking Winstrike out of the tournament on a full USP save. That is, that's going to really hurt, isn't it? Borup, he's going to win the fight even 16-11, and Trick to make their way back. That is going to sting a lot.
On a full save round, they close it out with the pincer maneuver on the inside of the back holes. Great stuff from Trick, especially after the way this series started, going down somewhere around 3-9 on Nuke. They bring it back, trigger OT, go 3 OTs, only to lose that map and then bounce back in an amazing fashion on Dust to absolutely dominate the second map and eventually take control of Nuke as well. Tricked are your winners, and as such, they will survive Winstrike. From them, unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye, as they will be the first team eliminated from this tournament.
Yeah, kind of a rough test for Winstrike. I mean, obviously they didn't really live up to the expectation this time. Tricked, on the other hand, I like the fact that they were bringing it back, and they were really doing a much better job from yesterday. So exciting to see them, slowly play a little bit better. Now I'm interested over at the analyst desk with Mark, and he called it. So we have to give him some credit for that, right?
Most people would say, I hate to say I told you so, but that would not be me. I called it, so.
Yeah. Did you call that their win with 5 USPs running through it?
No, that was
you
actually
wrote that one on a
ridiculous.
piece of paper. You've put it in an
I'm like a
envelope
magician.
backstage.
I'm like, now open your left pocket. And then you pull it
And
out.
it's
you're like,
written on in there.
What word is written on there? USP. No, yeah, there's nothing like that at all. Sorry. Didn't really think that far in advance. Honestly, I actually thought they should have won it 2-0.
Yeah,
the way the
I can
series
agree with
started, the way they were playing on Nuke, they probably should have won Nuke. They were up 2 rounds on Nuke at one point. In overtime number 1, I think it was, maybe overtime 2. And then it even almost still ended. They came down to that 1v3 with Acor with the AWP, and Acor almost pulled it off. That was actually somewhat impressive. Like, he still almost won that 1v3. With like 3 seconds left, he almost made it happen, so.
Yeah, that sort of situation was actually really weird, because it happened quite often, and each time you sort of had that thought in the back of your mind, like, he's going to win this one. Because they were really playing aggressive. Like, I think Winstrike throughout the series actually made quite a lot of mistakes, and I think it is evident of like a team that needs some work. Like, they are very new, like they're new with Edward at least. They've also relatively new with Elian, and I think that definitely showed today.
It definitely did, and you could see I felt so bad for Norbert at times during this series. It seemed like every duel that he was encountering, he was either blind or there was 3 people shooting at him. The target selection for him just became more and more difficult as the series went on, and the stats definitely showed that. It definitely gets a little bit more tricky coming from the FPL Puggy scene and then coming into a little bit more structured CS, although I wouldn't say this series was that structured. It's still different looks, it's different contexts that you may not be as used to, and I think we saw that today.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down. I think it was on Nuke, where there were 4 rounds in a row where he died first.
And
one of them was like,
yeah,
through smoke, and then like 3 players ran through first, and we could see the cams, like, because we were sat out there.
He just rolled back.
He just slowly sat back in his chair, and I don't think he ever recovered from that Nuke game. Like, he struggled.
Even that 1v1 that he won against Acor that kept the game going, he like rolled back afterwards. He was like, like he actually had time to shoot. If he hit me, that was it. Like, they took the map. We do have Bubsky standing by for an interview backstage. Congratulations on the win. Very hard fought.
Yeah, it was a long match. After that first overtime.
I think we started at like, what, 10 p.m. for the first, or 10 a.m. for the first game, and we're almost near 2. That was a long series.
Yeah, some teams are going to have to beat them 2-0 to make up the time plan.
I like where your mind is at. Now, you guys played Train earlier in the tournament. You played against Aristocracy, and it didn't go so well. What did you learn from that game that you applied today?
Like, we learned that we are a new team who's lacking a lot of experience. They were definitely more experienced than us in clutches, They were just outperforming on us on like basic stuff in CS. Like, I think we watched the VOD yesterday, and we were lost like 3 or 4 2v2s where they just like outpositioned us every time.
So I'm interested with sort of the in-game leader position, because previously, obviously, you played in Fragsters. It was a fairly young team, a fairly inexperienced team overall, but you managed to basically create a lot of your own luck. You did very well at different tournaments. How does it differ now playing under Hunden, someone who's obviously vastly more experienced?
I think the difference was with Fragsters and Tricked is that in Fragsters we were playing really loose and just playing on our individual skill. Like, Red Refresh was really shining back then, and we have Staven, maybe one of Denmark's biggest talents, and we also had Dragonfly, who was hitting some nutty shots with the orb, and like, we were just overall really heavy firepower team, so we didn't really rely too much on structure. Like, we just did what we had on our feelings, and in Tricked we're kind of more limited in our options. So yeah, there's pros and cons with both styles, but I preferred this one.
With regards to the way that Nuke played out, it felt like you guys had that game in your grasp a couple of times and it sort of slipped through your fingers. Winstrike seemed to up the speed a lot towards the end of overtime. What was going on with the team? Why were you guys having a hard time, like, kind of just figuring out what was happening?
Like, we when they put on the fast pace, we were kind of like, we're still a young team, so we're getting kind of nervous, I think. Like they weren't afraid to take the duels, and we were kind of like taking safe positions and gave them way too much space. And after that, it just snowballed. Like we were missing easy shots in the back due to like we had the chance to close it like on 14-11, I think, and then we failed it, and then like the morale goes a bit down, and the aim isn't optimal if you fail a bit in that round. So I think it was a lot to do with like our attitude towards the end of the game that made us lose it.
All right, one more question before I let you go.
Sure.
I also noticed that on Nuke, you definitely seemed keen on putting extra bullets in the bodies at certain points. Was that like just trying to get like the mood turned around on the team?
Oh, I just try to be the positive guy sometimes. Like it's not always fun when you are losing at overtime that hard, like after being in front. So I just try my best to be positive on the stage.
Well, congratulations and good luck later today.
Thank you.
So, I mean, we hear some things we expected to hear. Like, yeah, they're still sort of figuring things out. They're still sort of kind of getting the pieces in the right places.
I'm interested by the fact that you said that he prefers playing with this team. Like, that is really interesting to me, because that Fragsters roster was obviously hugely successful. They had a lot of firepower, and those players are broken off into the heroic and optic and like moved into different positions. So I'm actually surprised that he says like, okay, the way that this is going at the moment with obviously maybe slightly less skilled players but more structure is what he prefers, rather than what a lot of young players like, which is that sort of loose, crazy style, the almost FPL style, that a little bit more risky. So I'm surprised.
I think it has to do with that, as you mentioned, the structure. I mean, we saw Bubsky specifically. I want to point out his performance on Nuke on that upper inner bomb site. I mean, it really has to. It depends on your individual performance and your reactions to the executes and the enemies that are coming your way. Bubsky's reactions 9 times out of 10 were almost to perfection.
Yeah.
He was dodging the flashes, going in and out of the hut, pushing inner lobby whenever he was under a little bit too much pressure. And those kinds of reactions individually, if you have that kind of player who's capable of making that kind of delivery in the execution, it's so beneficial for your team. And I'm assuming that the structure is what allows him to shine in those moments.
I think you have to compare him as well in that first map, at least, to Quick. I think that was the battle. Like in that first map, Quick, I think he ended with like 40-something kills to get them to win.
To be fair, it was triple OT, but yeah, he had
still a lot of kills.
30-something in regulation,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
He had an insane game, really controlled a lot of the outer portion of the map, and I think if he doesn't drop 40-plus kills, as you mentioned, it almost definitely be a 2-0. Edward had some very noticeable moments as well, like individually and clutching things out. So I think that this team definitely has a decent basis. It just needs to maybe firstly get Norbert like back into games when because he tilted quite early in the game, and I don't think he ever came back. Like Dust 2, it didn't look good, and it was the same on the last map as well. And he, from yesterday, was one of their best players. Like, he definitely has it in him. He's a young talent, but I think that mental game is where things are a bit more problematic.
Now, Potter, I'm told you have a round for us here on the drawing board that you want to highlight.
Yeah, so I mean, as we saw in this series, this matchup wasn't too cerebral. There wasn't a lot of too much strategy approach to it, but there was a lot of good contact plays. And this is one of those plays from Tricked Esports on their T side. Yesterday, we saw them struggling quite a bit versus Aristocracy. You're going to see all 4 players going towards this inner bomb site. And as you notice, Hunden is kind of sitting back in the back here. And his only role and his priority is going to be to flash out for his teammates. There's a flash going out now. And he's going to quickly come through and meet up with his team for potential trades and try to force those trades. But immediately after, their kryptonite yesterday is this ladder flake. So now Hunden is going to go back and try to keep Winstrike honest. Even though there's no one from Winstrike coming this way, he doesn't know that. And immediately after, he's going to be the player that clutches and closes this round out for Trick. And I think this certain piece of having somebody who's going to really try to close out that round and hold on to the flanks is what they were missing yesterday. And they were able to turn it around and showcase exactly how to close out the round here today.
Yeah, I think Hunden as well is someone who at least individually had a massive turnaround from yesterday. Like really
especially
struggled.
On the last map, he was like 18 and 14, like not crazy numbers,
no,
but
even
compare
still,
that
like,
to his first game at this tournament.
I don't actually care about the actual numbers. Like 18 and 14, it could be 20 and 14, it could be 10 and 14. The actual impact he had individually was actually quite big. Like the last round that they win, 2 USP openers for Hunden. Like, that's something that most players can't achieve ever. Like, 2 USP openers against a full buy
yeah.
is ridiculous. Then he had, like, a lot of times where he got the timing peek out when he was hanging around Ivy. Like, he waited for the contact to be taken and used that to get them another kill when they already had one. So I think, like, yesterday, he was definitely out of the match as an individual. I don't know what was happening with the call, and obviously that didn't go too well either. But in terms of his individual performance, as well as how they seem to play on the T side and how players were set up, I think overall it was much better.
Well, the marathon is over. We finally made it past our first match of the day. That's
or
just
is it just beginning?
First match. We've still got so much more to come. We've got Crazy and Chaos getting ready to set up on stage here at DreamHack Open Summer 2019. We'll return in just a bit.